This video is a walkthrough of the new Vibrant internal provider portal customization feature. And in this portal feature, we have created the ability for the providers that use this to create a really nice, succinct summary to hand to a patient of everything from diet recommendations to supplements to lifestyle, as well as some additional handouts related to their food based on the tests that have been ordered on the patient. So the first thing that you're going to do is once you've logged into your portal, the tabs at the top, hopefully what defaults is this patient view. This is the view that shows all of the tests you have ordered on, or all of the patients on whom you have ordered testing. If not, you want to click on that. And then you're going to search for the patient or select the patient from the list that you want to create this customized report for. So I've found the patient that I want to create a report for. I'm going to select the date of service for that patient for which I want to create that report. And once it loads, you'll notice over here on the right-hand menu, there's now a new option down here on the bottom right that says Customized Report. So once you click on that, what you're going to get is this portal view of some options. What will display are any of the report formats that you can pull up on any of the labs that you've run on your patient. So if you've run Vibrant America Diagnostics, you can find those there. If you've run Vibrant Wellness, any of our wellness tests, you can find those there. And then any of the summary formats, the difference between the summary and the complete is the summary is the first few pages that gives you just the information on which antibodies were positive, moderate, or negative, for instance, on the food Zoomers. The complete report is that summary information plus all of the explanatory comments. Some of those reports can be quite long. And so we give you the option if you simply want to print the short version to hand to the patient or email to them or send through an EMR system, or if you want to actually print all 40 to 90 pages, depending on how many things you've ordered. So once we go up to here, you're going to see this option for Customized Report, and that's what you will start with. These options over here on the left hand are going to be basically so you can see what you're building. It's going to show you what's going to be put into the patient's final handout. So these items here on the left-hand side are the summary results, the food report, which we're going to build, and the customized protocol, which we're going to build. So the first option is your diet suggestion. If you don't check any of these diet filters and you just hit submit, what will populate is a table based on the food Zoomer or food sensitivity tests that have been run for this patient. As you can see, this is based on the reactive results. So if a patient did not have antibodies to cucumber or spinach on the lectin Zoomer for lectin and aquaporins, those foods will populate in the foods you can eat column, while the foods the patient had antibodies to over here will show up as foods to avoid. Now from here, you can apply a variety of filters. Let's say that I want this patient on a low FODMAP diet and a gluten-free diet. Once I hit submit, that is going to further filter this, and it's going to tell the patient, these are the foods you can eat and these are the foods you should avoid. Anything that I have added as a filter as a provider is going to have a little red asterisk by it, and that lets the patient know these were further foods that my provider limited based on additional diets they prefer for me. Now, once I go on here, I've selected the diet that I want the patient on, and the next step is going to be selecting a supplement protocol based on my preferences. Now, some of the things that will be checked already are going to be based on associations between what type of support the patient may need and the tests that you have ordered. So for instance, the wheat Zoomer will typically trigger a pre-selected for gastrointestinal support. Perhaps if the patient has intestinal permeability, if you don't want to do that or there is non-intestinal permeability, you can simply deselect that. Neurological, cognitive, and mood support will default as checked if the patient has aquaporin antibodies, for instance, on a neural zoomer. Again, you can select or deselect. So let's say that I do want to build a gastrointestinal support protocol and perhaps a liver detoxification support protocol. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Design Protocol, and I can select from brands. In this view right here, there's currently only one brand loaded into here, but as we add additional brands, you will be able to select from multiple brands. So I'm going to default to everything that's available, and let's say that just for the sake of time, I want to find an intestinal permeability protocol. So I'm going to select that, and if you notice, it gets added down here. And then let's say that I want detoxification. And let's say that this is from integrative therapeutics. So there's a few random ones that are in here as well, besides just Designs for Health. So I now have that selected. You should see two things down here. That's going to populate on the final report. If I'm happy with this, I can confirm. If I want to add products of my own, I can do that here. So if I want to call this a brain health protocol, for instance, I can select anything here. I can type in take daily between meals up to 3 times. I can type in a brand. Let's say that I want to use Metagenics brand and whatever the name of the supplement is, and I can give a dose. And anything else daily down here. So for instance, take with food, okay? That allows me to create a custom protocol, and I can then save that. Sorry, you have to actually name it. And this right here is going to tell me that that's a custom one that I created. Okay. And so now that I have that, it's important to notice that there is a disclaimer down here. This is important legal information that all healthcare providers using this system need to understand, that ultimately the responsibility and liability for this recommendation, not just the supplements, but the diet and lifestyle and anything else recommended, falls upon the licensed healthcare provider. You need to make sure that you are operating within your legally defined scope of practice in the state in which you practice. If you are not legally licensed to make supplement recommendations, for instance, using this system and making supplement recommendations does not absolve you from that liability. So just make sure that depending on what your credential is and what your scope of practice is, you're operating within that. That's basically just what this states here. Once I hit confirm, all of this is going to, again, go into everything that's going to end up on this final report. So I've selected my supplement protocols, and there's an additional section here where I can add to the patient's report. These are additional tests that are recommended based on your results. So for instance, a gut zoomer complete, this might be recommended to look for dysbiosis-mediated intestinal permeability. So for instance, if this patient has leaky gut on the wheat zoomer, this will populate as a recommendation. A neural zoomer plus will populate if a patient has antibodies to aquaporins on the lectin zoomer. So these would be things that you can add or not add to what you hand the patient, depending on what recommendations you want to make. There's also lifestyle guides that you can add to this. Each one of these is specific to the food tests, and you can select, for instance, maybe you have your own really great gluten or wheat-free guide, and you don't really need to use this one, but you want a pretty good comprehensive corn-free and lectin-free guide. You can select those. And down here, you can write any additional comments to the patient. So for instance, this might be a calorie prescription. This might be exercise, something specific there. This might be something related to follow up with me in 30 days. Literally anything you want to write here. This is just free text. You do have a limit on characters, obviously. So anything you want to put in there. And then once you're done entering everything, you can hit Save as PDF. And then what generates is this nice handout. This is going to say, you know, this is going to have the provider name up here, whatever the provider's email is, and contact information. And then you're going to have the food list that you created. You're going to have the supplement protocols that you entered, plus any that you've designed. And by the way, when you make those custom supplement protocols, it will save it in your portal so that you can use it for more than one patient. And then you've got your test recommendations that are suggested, and then any additional comments. And then next is going to come the guides that follow at the end that are going to be specific to the foods, the food zoomers that were run, if there were any of those that you selected. So we have the corn and lectin ones that we wanted to give to the patient. So this report is a printable PDF. Once you receive it and download it, you can email it or send it through an EMR or print it and hand it to a patient who's in the office. Thanks for listening, and let us know if you have any suggestions for features you'd like to see. This is a constantly evolving platform, and you know, we'll be making updates regularly to it. But if there are any things that you would like to see as far as what to be able to offer in this, please let us know and reach out. Thanks a lot.